Hi guys, my name's Stephen Brannan. I'm a director of miiCard, and I'm here to present to you the case for miiCard, why it's needed and what we can offer you as banks or social networking organizations, or how to get a trusted identity on the internet. Actually, the problem that we're solving is not a new problem. It's been round, and I didn't realize this until I did the investigation, it's been around for at least 10 years, when a guy called Pete Steiner, he put together a cartoon that has now become so famous that everyone will recognize it. On the internet, no one knows you're a dog. That was actually back in 1993 that cartoon first arrived in the New York Times. And in the intervening years, nothing has changed. There's nothing today that can identify that you're not a dog. There's lots of things that can identify things about you, but you can't actually identify you are who you actually say you are. And that's the service that miiCard offers. So, it's all about trust online. It's all about giving you the confidence that the person you're dealing with really is that person. It's a replacement in real time, purely online, of the photo ID that you would typically find with a passport or a driving license. The problem we're solving is if, for example, you're trying to take out a financial services product, you get so far through the transaction, and they'll say to you, send your passport to the branch or the call center. We have grandfathered the KYC checks that you've already done to get your online banking account, and we're using that as a mechanism for validating you are who you say you are. And again, you need trust online for all these things down here. For example, online dating. There is a huge problem with online dating now about impersonation. And using something like this, you can help to overcome that. Obviously, there's a financial services application, there's a trading application, and I guess if you're trading online and sort of dealing in goods up to about 100 quid, if it falls through, you're probably not too worried. When you start to trade in higher amounts, you want to have trust in the individual that you're dealing with. And so it's a unique proposition. And the question is, why is it unique? Well, the reason it's unique is the data engine, and the provider of the raw data that we use to do that validation, has now signed a global exclusivity agreement with miiCard, and they've become our partner globally to provide that. So we are exclusive. We've just completed our online US patent application. So again, we've got protection there, and finally we've got distribution, not only through Yodlee, the global partner, but we've also signed a partnership agreement with Call Credit, a UK credit reference agency. So not only can we identify that you are that person, using Call Credit, we can get all sorts of other data about you that can be used as part of a decision-making process by a financial services organization. So these are the sorts of countries that we can support, and these are the sorts of banks that we can support using the miiCard product. So the business model is twofold. First of all, it's a C2C model. And again, so if you're trading or if you're dealing online with other individuals, even if it's with your Twitter account or with it's a Facebook, to have that trust that you know who you're dealing with is so, so valuable. And again, so what we're doing is we're offering a transaction model there. You can take out a yearly subscription for your miiCard for $20. The business-to-business side is slightly different insofar as the businesses typically feel real pain when they're actually losing applications. Now, I know this. I used to be the Director of Group Technology at RBS, and prior to that I was a Managing Director of its Global Cards business. When you're getting online applications, as soon as you go to an offline process, you can guarantee you'll lose 40 to 60% of your applications. And even those that you then want to take through to fulfillment, I reckon it was costing me £80 a shot to do the offline validation. In fact, we know of a supermarket bank who currently, in order to complete the financial transaction, sends a courier around to your house and gets the courier to check that you actually have got the photo ID available. So, the business model in action. The business model is working. The business model is currently being used by an overseas bank who are wanting to enter the UK market. It's absolutely ideal for miiCard because they don't have any branches in the UK, they don't have any call centres in the UK. If they're going to use miiCard to do their online customer acquisition. In the social space, again, we're being used by a social network to validate the trust between individuals so that they can do more things together. And finally, as we see, you probably saw the headlines in this week's press that peer-to-peer lending is now top 250 million. As that's just in small amounts. As the peer-to-peer lenders want to move up to higher value transactions, either borrowing or lending, they're going to have to become regulated or are going to have to go through some form of KYC checking. We're working with them to provide that KYC checking for this increase in their product set. So who are the guys who put this together? A guy called James Varga is the chief executive. He's a Canadian, a serial entrepreneur, and he's the guy who came up with the original idea. And round about him, we've got a great team of people. We've got Stuart Fraser, who's a security expert. He was one of the founders of DNS, who eventually got bought out by SecureWorks, and then subsequently Dell. As I say, I'm an ex-director at Royal Bank of Scotland. We've got a guy called Jeremy Fraser as one of our advisors to the board. He's the head of compliance and regulation at ING Direct. And so through him and through ING Direct, we've done the validation that we need through the various regulators that this approach is valid. The two guys in red are actually recent non-exec directors. We just completed our second round of funding. We just raised $2 million in about 4 weeks. One of them is from the venture capital company that Tim's from. And Joe's actually a director of Yodlee Interactive in the States. And so he's just joined our board. So the message, I guess, to you guys is we've seen, again, over the last week that domain names have just increased by a huge number. There's going to be, we're at the tipping point now in terms of the internet as a way to do business. You need to be able to trust who you're dealing with on the internet. And I give it to you that you should join that with miiCard, because miiCard is the way of providing that truly trusted online identity. Thanks very much, and I'm happy to take questions.